man. But there were times I had to get him man to man.
And your favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
It's actually games like we play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks when they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did. So I got 3 sacks on them. I got 3 sacks on them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
What is going on, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to West War Room Rivals. It's the Sunday morning pregame show. I've got the fellas in the studio, the JBW Solutions studio, as we're recording right now. How's everyone doing today? How's your guys' Thanksgiving?
Yeah, couldn't have been any better. Honestly, I was good food, good football. We even did a little bowling towards the end of the Thursday night. So yeah, man, no complaints here.
Yeah, I smoked the turkey for the first time with the Badger Barrel. Shout out to them, and actually came out pretty well. I was very happy with myself.
How long did the process take?
So it took about 5-6 hours almost.
Okay.
To get it.
So I've thought about doing it, but I think what my thought is do I have to put more coals to keep the heat up, or will the coals last the whole time?
They lasted the whole time. I didn't have to do anything. I just kept checking. I was getting paranoid. I kept looking out all right, is there still smoke is it still smoking? Okay, we're good. Yeah. So, and then I would just go out. I took Corey's advice every hour, just went out and put some butter on it. So it was good. It was
nice.
Good.
And then we saw some deviled eggs on Corey's plate as he sent. And then I think we all shared a little bit of our food from Thanksgiving. It all looked pretty much the same. Couple of differences on the sides, but we had some interesting football on Thursday, if I do say so myself. So interesting games, huh, fellas?
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah. As you can see, Austin's very thrilled to talk about his game.
Yeah,
I had a whole living room full of just Chiefs people in this. And
how quiet was that living room after the second half?
There's no one quiet in my family. I can tell you.
So loud.
Tell you that much.
So loud.
If they watch this, I'm not meaning that in a bad way.
Maybe
not. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just it was funny because then it's what the hell? What are they doing here? What are they doing? That's not a penalty. That's not a penalty. And it's just, I don't know, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I bet.
Just sitting there with his plate of deviled eggs, just soaking in the madness.
He probably wasn't even hungry watching the game. All right. Before we get started, don't forget to go and check out our sponsors, JBW Solutions. Again, we're recording in the studio. Shout out to Emporia State Federal Credit Union, Angie and the team, and Field Ops Troy in the greater Kansas area. So, you guys, on this Sunday morning pregame show, we're going to start it with our icebreaker question. So this question is, if you could throw the ball to one former or one current or former player, I'm assuming.
Former. Just former.
Okay. Yep. So it's either the position would be a running back, receiver, or the tight end. It's 4th and goal. So Corey, you created this question, thankfully. So I'll let you go ahead and answer this question.
Only because I think I know who Matt's going to go with. I'm going with Shannon Sharp. I'm going with Shannon Sharp on 4th and goal.
Do I get to pick the quarterback throwing the ball?
No, it would be the current quarterback. You're only
Raiders are hosed.
Yeah. You're only inserting the former receiver, running back, or tight end, and I'm going to have Bo Nix throwing to Shannon Sharp.
Oh my. All right, I get Caleb. Who are you picking?
Well, if I have to throw it, if I'm not running it, I would say Antonio Gates.
There you
go. It's probably mine. If I'm running it, though, LT.
Okay. Matt?
Well, actually, I was going to go Shannon Sharp as well, but since Corey took that, my backup would be the man, the myth, the legend himself, Rod Smith.
That's who I thought you were going to go with. That's why.
That's awesome. Austin, who about you?
Gotta say Sylvester Morris, right? Westy bestie.
There we go.
But
if I had to pick,
Tony Gonzalez, honestly. Yeah, Tony Gonzalez.
If I had to pick one, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit of a outside the box. I'm going to go Carl Pickens because I need that jump ball because he has that super high leaping ability. So I think Geno could at least throw it out of the stadium and not get it picked off. So but I think Carl can be someone that can go get it. So I'd say Carl Pickens.
Gino already threw an interception.
He fumbled it, actually. He fumbled the snap.
and flipped off the ball boy afterwards.
Just blame it all on Gino. Just blame it.
Yeah, blame
it on Gino.
You know what? The Chiefs debacle on Thursday night is Gino's fault. Blame Gino.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Preach, dude. He's such a distraction.
That kind of segues over to our next one, which we're going to go into our AFC West rundown now. So, Austin, I'd love for you to tell me what went wrong for the Chiefs, and if you think that they're still going to make the playoffs after their Thanksgiving letdown.
What went wrong was they allowed the Cowboys to score more points than them. That can't happen in a football game. I don't know. It's another one. Cowboys took advantage of it, but it's just another one. I think Chiefs did a really good job of beating themselves again. Penalties, play calling, not sticking to the run. Me sitting in the living room saying George Pickens is about to run a slant and them not being prepared for it time after time after time. It was really good in game adjustments. Like, what are we doing? If I'm sitting here letting you know that it's an important play and George Pickens is running a slant, you should probably be prepared for that too. But let's be honest, this Chiefs team's just not a very good team. Plain and simple. Cowboys, pretty good offense. I still think a little left to be desired on defense, but they're getting it figured out. But Patrick can only do so much. He was actually on the money again. I still think we went away from the run. And they just, I don't know. Cowboys exposed the defense. It just wasn't pretty. I'm not going to say the Chiefs are out of the playoffs until they're officially out of the playoffs, but it's not looking good. We lost both tackles, and we have the Texans next. So you are entering must-win territory now. All the teams ahead of you have the tiebreaker since they've beaten you. Now you have no more ground to give up. So they are one more loss, and I will officially say they're 100% out of the playoffs.
Corey, when you were sitting in your in the living room of your family's house seeing this Chiefs debacle, what was your thoughts seeing the Chiefs losing? What do you think it went wrong? And what are your thoughts on the Chiefs playoffs hope?
Yeah, it tells me that George Pickens is the best receiver in football. And I know Seahawk fans are going to say Jackson Smith and Jigba. Okay, maybe. I mean, I would still probably give it to George Pickens if I had just a degree of difficulty on some of those catches that he makes and what he's doing. And then he teabagged Trent McDuffie on the hurdle. So, yeah, I don't know why the Chiefs went away from the run. Kareem Hunt was doing pretty well at the beginning, and maybe it's just the pressure factor. Maybe I'm not sure exactly what they were thinking. And then I think on defense, there was a couple times when we had talked last week about this game and pressuring Dak, and he threw that pick. Right. So we were talking, hey, that's what you do. You get pressure on Dak, Dak's going to Dak. But then it kind of seemed like after that, there just wasn't much pressure on Dak. And I don't know if that's maybe we need to kind of start shifting our attention towards what the Chiefs have on the line, the D line. If you're going to get Chris Jones here, but not there, and instead of getting him every play, we maybe have to start having that discussion as far as that goes. But hey, I told you guys that the Cowboys defense they're starting to get it figured out, and they're not to be taken lightly. And I think we're well on our way of, hey, don't sleep on the Cowboys, maybe getting this division, especially after what the Eagles showed Friday.
Right. Yeah. For those that are watching us on Sunday morning, Eagles and Bears, Black Friday game, Eagles, I think, forgot that they played that day, and they just didn't show up. Now, granted, A.J. Brown had a pretty respectable game, but for the Bears, I guess they're legit now. That mean they toppled the Super Bowl champions. So, Matt, quickly, do you think the Chiefs still have a chance to get in the playoffs?
I don't see it. And it's kind of like, in our group chat, Austin and I were talking, and to Corey's point, this Cowboys defense, they've improved a lot since the beginning of the year, especially with the addition of Quinnen Williams. But how much of that was a drop pass by Rice, a drop pass by Kelsey, a drop pass by Worthy, by pretty much that whole receiving corps? So how much of it was their own errors? How much of that was their own self-destruction? So But I think at this point they're done. They need a lot to happen right now. They need Jacksonville to drop 4 games. They need Buffalo to drop 4 games. They're just. I think they're done. I think this is going to be the first year we don't have the Chiefs in like 10 years.
Caleb?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Austin a little bit on this until I know for a fact that they're like out of it. I don't want to count them out, but I mean, they still have a tough road ahead. I mean, they got the Broncos again, the Chargers again, the Texans this week. They got a pretty tough stretch in there. I think it's possible for them to do it, but they have to improve a lot and really quickly. And I think losing Josh Simmons with his wrist and the other tackle, and then Trey Smith, I think, should be back next week, but maybe. But losing those guys, they're very detrimental to their success. And then the wide receivers, they just haven't been able to – they just kind of choked the game away a couple times, honestly. They've dropped the ball a lot and that kind of thing. So I think they can still make it, but a lot has to happen for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hate to say that it's a foregone conclusion they're not going to make it, but I think very similar to like what we're all saying is, honestly, until they're mathematically eliminated, you can't count the Chiefs out, especially with having Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback, Andy Reid the head coach. If this is the first year that they do not make the playoffs, I mean, maybe that's kind of a good thing so that way they can rest. I mean, they've had, 5 consecutive seasons of deep playoff runs where they're playing in February, basically. So maybe having a year to kind of recover and not have such a long season might help. But, a couple of things that might help them is in the AFC North now, it's getting a little interesting with the Bengals beating the Ravens on Thursday night. And who knows if the Steelers are going to maintain that lead. So if the Steelers, fall out of the leaderboard on the AFC North, then maybe that helps the Chiefs kind of sneak into the 7th spot, just because based on records, like the Steelers would make the wild card. They would be, I think, the 9th seed if I'm looking at it correctly. So, I mean, there's a chance Chiefs need a win from here. Like, they can't afford another loss to anybody. And, I think that's what makes it tough is now when you have no room for error, it's almost like literally any little thing now is going to hurt you. And you put yourself in a hole where you got to play perfect football. And the Chiefs have not been able to play perfect football this season. Have they won games? Sure. But again, they are like, 1-6 in 1-score games. The only one score that they had was the previous week where they won on a field goal. But again, this was a 1-score game and they lost it. And maybe the Cowboys are a potential playoff team, which again, kind of goes against their record against potential playoff teams or winning teams. So it's just down year for the Chiefs. But until they are eliminated mathematically, I can't count them out.
We'll start having draft episodes for you and Austin, so you can talk about the Raiders and Chiefs draft needs.
Yeah. We probably just need anything that's an offensive lineman is probably what we need to focus on. So, all right. So we're going to put that one in. We're going to put that one to bed. We're going to move on to an AFC West rivalry game where it is Caleb's Chargers going against my Las Vegas Raiders. I believe this is in SoFi Stadium. So in LA, a little bit of a walk down memory lane this week. For those that don't remember, the Raiders had fired their offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. Thank God. Sunday following the embarrassing loss that we had against the Browns. And we promoted Greg Olson, who was the quarterback coach, to play call now as the offensive coordinator. This is just a little side tangent about the craziness that the Raiders allowed Chip Kelly to call plays that weren't installed, forget to give a motion. Not to say that excused Geno Smith's poor play, but it would explain why this team looks so disorganized is when the person calling the plays doesn't even call the right play. So I thought that was just an interesting nugget there. So I'm hoping that the Raiders look like a football team against Caleb's Chargers today. So, but Caleb, I'm going to start with you. What are your X factors and what are your keys to victory for your Chargers?
So my X factors probably pretty similar to normal, but I've got to go with Jamari Sawyer. He's starting at left tackle this week. He was really good his rookie year at left tackle, but he hasn't played there in 3 years. So I'm really curious to see how he does. And I think his performance is a massive key to our offensive success. Defensively, my X factor is Derwin James.
Mm-hmm.
He's the leader. I really want to see how he bounced back this week, defensively, especially because that was the worst performance I think we've had other than the Colts. We kind of got ran on at will, I guess you'd say. And then my keys to victory this week, they're pretty similar as usual. We got to keep Justin Herbert clean. Mm-hmm. We have to keep him clean and healthy. I think if we can do that, I think we can win this game. And then defensively, we need to stop Genty early. If we stop him early and then our offense puts up some points, that'll force them to probably have to throw the ball a little more. And then having Greg Olsen this week, we don't really know what to expect from the Raiders. We don't know if they're going to change their playbook up, that kind of thing. So I think if we stop Genty early, make them one-dimensional, I think that's how we can really win this game.
Yeah, I also have a bone to pick with your head coach with doing a late scratch for Amari and Hampton. All this hype about him starting, and I took him off my IR spot on my fantasy roster. Now I got to put him right back and now find some Joe Schmo that maybe can fill in. So I got a bone to pick with Harbaugh on that. But nevertheless, though, kind of going on to the Raiders side now of this matchup, a couple of keys to victory I have is going to be very simple. First off, the fact that Chip Kelly is no longer calling the offense. We're going to have Greg Olsen, who has been calling NFL-style plays, offenses, many years in the NFL, which is a very encouraging thing because, you know, he did take over play calling for the Raiders back in 2015 and in 16. That was where we had a lot of offensive success. Our offensive line was not nearly as good as those two teams, though. So a little bit of tapering expectations, even though we have Greg Olsen, we might look like a team that's a little bit more organized offensively, but that doesn't take away from our offensive line, how understaffed it is, how undersized it is, especially against the Chargers defense, which is very tenacious. A couple of keys to victory would be, can we keep the pocket clean enough for Geno Smith to just get rid of the ball on time in rhythm to at least establish some sort of stability on the offense? Because if we can get a little bit of some rhythm throws going, maybe we can get the run game going and not be so one-dimensional, which is what it feels like we've been for the last several weeks. Because when teams stop Ashton Genty and they let Geno Smith throw the ball, you know, again, he leads the NFL in interception. So you're 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to get lucky and pick him off. So a couple of keys to victory would be keeping Geno Smith upright. And then also our defense. We need to start pressuring some quarterback that is back there. Like the fact that the Browns had a clean pocket for Shador all last week, not saying that they have that great of an offensive lineman, but Shador was kept clean. The week prior to that, I don't think we gave up more than just 1 sack, I think, in that game. So the Raiders' pressure defense has been lackluster at best. Could we account for maybe that there's going to be a little bit more energy in today's game because of the changes with the OC and some of the other things? I think so, but to what degree, I don't know quite yet, because Justin Herbert is lethal against the Raiders. He has very good numbers in terms of completion percentage, touchdowns. Very rarely does he turn the ball over on the Raiders. And I don't want this to be a get back on track for the Chargers. Kind of want the Chargers to work for it, but it could be a long afternoon if the Raiders just don't make Justin Herbert uncomfortable. So those are a couple of keys to victory. My X factor would be Ashton Genty. Like if he can get going in the run game, we have an opportunity to maybe steal one or keep the game close, and we'll let the ball bounce where it may. But that would be my X factor is Ashton Genty. So, all right, guys, moving on to the next matchup. It is the Broncos against the Commanders on Sunday Night Football. We had Lake Lewis Jr. on Wednesday. We had a live show with him, and he gave us a ton of great points about the Commanders, about the Broncos matchup. So shout out to Lake for joining us on the program on Wednesday. So Corey, I want to kick it off with you. Give me your X factors and your keys to victory for the Broncos facing the Commanders.
Yeah, and now that we know Jaden Daniels isn't playing, he's been ruled out for this game. So like I said Wednesday, that doesn't change my mind on how I think the game goes. So as far as X factors go, it's going to be Bo. You take care of the ball. We don't no stupid turnovers. Don't let them steal possessions, right? So come out, play like you did against Kansas City. Let's see those feet working in rhythm. Let's see you ripping off some big plays. Let's see you get Troy Franklin involved. Let's see you play a good, clean game and start setting the tempo and setting the tone for the rest of the season starting tonight. The keys to victory, again, turnover margin. Don't turn the ball over. I'd like to see our defense finally start coming up with some of these interceptions that have been so close. Hufunga's almost had, an interception the last probably 3 games that he's played in. But I don't want to see any more almost. Let's get those extra possessions. Let's steal some possessions and get that time of possession on our side, and let's leave healthy. Let's start setting the foundation to make that playoff run and we're in talks for a 1 seed. I don't know how crazy that sounds to Matt, but to me that sounds wild. So It starts tonight. It starts now. This is a game you have to win. Okay, these are the games that you're going to have to win, and worry about the tough ones later on. So don't look ahead to the Raiders.
Matt, what are your keys to victory and your X factors?
So it's kind of like what Lake Lewis brought up when he was on the show at this last week. One thing the Commanders like to do is they like to run between the tackles, and they do it very well. They're averaging at least 140 yards on the ground, which is very well. And yeah, Denver has a good run defense. However, and I've been saying it since the beginning of the year, that interior line is where they struggle the most. Yes, they just re-signed Malcolm Roach to that big extension. Alex Singleton, he's going to be in the lineup, so that's going to be huge in this game. But I need them to be disruptive because, believe it or not, and don't let the record fool you, their offensive line is really well, especially in the run blocking. They have a very good offensive line. So Denver needs to be disruptive. They need to get in the backfield. They need to blow up those run plays. They need to put some pressure on Mariota. And like Corey said, win that turnover battle, force some turnovers, force Mariota to throw the ball when he doesn't want to, throw that timing off, make him see something that's not actually there and pick it off. You got to get some turnovers. They're not doing well in that department. So turnovers, being disruptive. And again, we already know they're going to take, with Terry McLaurin back, they're going to take shots at Riley Moss, especially with all the DPI trouble he's been in all season long. They're going to take shots at Moss tonight. And I will be surprised if Surtain even gets a pass thrown his way, knowing that Moss is having the trouble he's having and McLaurin is back in the lineup. So on the defensive side of the ball, it's going to be Riley Moss. Can you stay disciplined? And can that defensive front get that penetration? And then, not to beat a dead horse, Corey already mentioned it, it's going to be Bo. This is a perfect opportunity to air it out. Get Troy Franklin involved. Hit up Pat Bryant, who had a great game against the Chiefs. He actually came alive. I think he had more receiving yards that day than he had all his entire career so far in his rookie year. So get Pat Bryant involved. Get the ball to Sutton. When you're in the red zone, Sutton is like the number 1 or 2 receiver in the league in the red zone. Get the ball to him. Run the ball. Let RJ Harvey go off. Like, the run blocking needs to be on point here. So it's going to be in the trenches and it's going to be through the air.
All right. So I just want to kind of point out here, it looks like the Broncos are pretty favored here, according to ESPN Bet. They've opened the line at 6.5 points in terms of Broncos being favorited, but they have the overall points at 44.5. So it looks like, to piggyback on what Matt and Corey are saying, is it looks like it's going to be a good game, but the Broncos should control this game for the most part. So we shall see. So before we move on to League Recon, we're going to pay some bills real quick. So we're going to take a quick commercial little clip, and then we'll be right back. West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Emporia State Federal Credit Union. Learn more at esfcu.com. Text or call the number 620-342-2336 to get started today. ESFCU is the Shovix banking of choice, federally insured by the NCUA. This episode of West War Room Rivals is brought to you by JBW Solutions Industrial Safety Services, your remote safety partner no matter where work takes you. From the job site to the office, JBW Solutions brings OSHA 10 and 30 training, plus a full lineup of compliance services straight to your screen. Whether you're a small crew or a major operation, they make safety simple, accessible, and effective. Visit jbwsolutionsllc.com to learn more today and stay compliant wherever you are. West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Field Ops. Kansas sports fields just got an upgrade. with Field Ops. Looking to reserve top quality sports fields in Kansas? Whether you're organizing youth tournaments, adult leagues, or weekend pickup games, Field Ops is your go-to platform for discovering and booking the best athletic fields across the state. Instant online reservations, detailed field info such as locations, amenities, and photos. Field Ops is also trusted by coaches, organizers, and athletes. From Wichita to Overland Park, Field Ops has got you covered with real-time availability and streamlined scheduling. Get in the game at gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. That's gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. All right, guys, welcome back to West War Room Rivals. If you're new to the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on all social media platforms, X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the good ones. So we're going to move on now to League Recon. Of course, we don't only do the AFC West, we do also some other football action around the NFL. So our first League Recon question is going to be, who needs this win more? Is it the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Buffalo Bills? Austin, I'll let you kick us off.
Yeah, I think Steelers need it more. They're still fighting for a division. Yeah, I mean, mathematically, Bills could be fighting for a division as well still, but Patriots kind of have that. So Steelers are win the division or miss the playoffs, in my opinion. So they really need to win with what's going on. And like you mentioned earlier, the North, nobody's really wanting to win it. I mean, I saw a graphic on one of the stations where it said Browns are still in the hunt.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, are they really? But mathematically, yeah, like nobody. Titans ran Derrick Henry 6 times on the opening drive, and then he didn't even play a single snap in the third quarter or fourth quarter.
Crazy.
So I don't know what's going on there. All 5 turnovers Baltimore had was when Derrick Henry wasn't on the field. Just a fun fact. So I think Steelers need it. They're fighting for a division that is honestly still up for grabs. The division's only getting one team, and you're at the point now where you need to win these games because you're running out of time.
Yeah. Caleb, who do you think needs this more, the Bills or Steelers?
I'm going to go with the Bills. The reason I say that, they're the 7th seed right now. The Texans are right on their heels. They lose this game, and the Texans somehow go on a little run here. I could see them being out of the playoffs. I really could. I don't think that will happen, but I could definitely see it. They play, obviously, the Steelers this week, but then they got a pretty good little stretch there. They got to play the Patriots again, so we'll see how that turns out. And they play the Bengals who are seem to be getting a little hot. So I really think the Bills need this big time.
Matt, who do you think needs this more?
I'm with Caleb on this one. I'm going to go with the Bills. And the reason I say it is because the Steelers, like, again, the AFC North is still up for grabs. Like, no one really has a good hold on that division yet. So the Steelers could still get in off of a division title. But the Bills, like, Caleb mentioned, the Texans are right on their heels. And then I think we all came to the agreement, like, yeah, the Chiefs right now, that it's not looking good for them. But until they are mathematically out, you can't rule them out. And if they go on a run, I mean, you could see the Chiefs sneak their, claw and sneak their way in there. So I think for the Bills, if they want to stay in the playoffs, they need this win more. Are they at home for this one? I think.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Let me double check. They're on the road, so this is in Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's in Pittsburgh.
So this is going to be a tough game for them because now they're, you're in enemy territory. You got 2 teams on your heels right now. So I'd say they need this more than the Steelers do.
Corey, what do you think?
Yeah, talk about 2 teams who are like, what? Especially the Bills, right? Like, obviously, everyone was talking going into the season about this is the Bills' year. Chiefs are going to be down. This is the Bills' time. Now, look, they're also about ready to not be in the playoffs with the Chiefs. How weird would this be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I go back and forth on it. I still think it is the Bills, just because it's kind of the same reason those other guys are talking about. Like, but then if you look at the Steelers, like my brother said, they're also like, it's win division or you're out. Whereas the Bills, I don't think are going to win the division. So, yeah, I think the Bills absolutely need this because I think there's more pressure on Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. the seats going to start getting a little bit warmer there in Buffalo for Sean.
How crazy would it be if both these teams missed the playoffs?
That'd be the wildest.
Oh,
really
my Lord.
We have two coaches. You're talking about this, the seats a little hotter, right? Because this is expectations of the Bills going into the season way up here, whereas you have Mike Tomlin, who obviously doesn't have a losing season, but that would be a collapse because they had the division comfortably
Just a few weeks ago
in control. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we're sitting here right after, Christmas when the playoff picture is kind of like coming clearer per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be wild, honestly.
Yeah, week 13, I think we got, 5 weeks left of the season. And from seeds 6 and 7, they're like wide open. And, they're going to have about 5 teams fighting for those last 2 spots, which is crazy. But I think if I had to really say who needs this more, and you can make a case for either one of these teams, to be honest, but I think with coming into the season, and I mentioned this on our reaction show that we did on Tuesday, when we were talking about if the Bills were frauds, and I was like, yeah, they're kind of on fraud watch right now because they came in with this season being, again, I will say this, favored in every game, and now they've dropped 2 games uncharacteristically. And again, the Steelers defense, say what you want, offensively they're not that great, but the Steelers defense still causes problems, and this is in Pittsburgh, so it can still give Josh Allen problems. And imagine if the Bills just can't win this game, and now they're 7-5, and that falls. I think they then will sit 8th in the AFC, considering that you would have the Texans, and we're foreshadowing that they're coming up next. But if the Texans then get a victory, then they go to 7-5, and now they're right neck and neck with the Bills, and they're getting healthy at the right time. And I think who was the Bills? I think signed some Brandon Cooks, and so we'll see if he's productive or not. But I think the Bills need this really badly for confidence reasons, to keep their wild card dreams alive, because it's certainly not for the division. They're not winning the East. That's locked down by the Patriots, and they're not. I don't see them losing enough games to give the Bills any life. So I would say the Bills need this in the worst way. And if the Bills, God help them, do not make the wild card, I think Sean McDermott's seat becomes ablaze in the offseason. So real change might happen one way or the other for the Bills, and I think it'd be very interesting. And it'll all start if they don't make the wild card. So that's what I'll say on that. So moving.
They're going to fire McDermott and bring Brian Daboll.
That would be
Brian Daboll was offensive coordinator for the Bills before he went and got the Giants job, and that was one of Josh Allen's best seasons. So, I mean, we laugh about it, but at the same time, it's kind of like Brian Daboll and Josh Allen were kind of good together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but does that propel this football team to the next level? I don't know.
Well, it depends on if your GM continues to do what he's doing now. No, but then you got to look, does the GM even come out of this alive? So
right.
See, I'm looking at this as if Steelers lose, they're out of the playoffs, and that's why I think it's a win for them. If Bills lose, I still think they have a nice path to a 7 seed. I do. But if Steelers lose, they're done. Like, they're not going to win that division if they lose this game.
I see it in the sense of, like, I don't think Pittsburgh was even supposed to be where they're at this season.
They had some hype with Rodgers.
What was that?
They had some hype when they got in Rodgers. This was supposed to be maybe not like a dominant year, but this was supposed to be, we finally have a quarterback to score us enough points.
Sure, but I think if the teams perform the way that they're supposed to, the Ravens were supposed to lead this division, followed by the Bengals because they had an elite offense, and the Steelers, they were probably going to have a winning record but not make a postseason run. So the fact that they're at this position, like, they're on schedule, but I don't think them making the playoffs was in the cards for them. That's why I don't think it's as important as the Bills, because there's literally someone's job on the line. And I think we can say McDermott may not make it in the offseason if they don't make the wild card after having multiple years of success but not getting to the next level.
Yeah, if this question is compared to expectations, it's obviously the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going, who would need it more to keep their season alive? Like, not compared to expectations, compared to what is actually happening. You know what I mean? Because if Steelers miss the playoffs and crumble, Mike Tomlin could also be out of a job. Like, we don't know what's happening there because they had some expectations. I just see a clearer path for the Bills to still make the playoffs if they lose.
I would have to say the Steelers have two different ways to get there. They either get the division or they could probably get a wild card if they win enough games, whereas the Bills, all they have is the wild card. If they don't get the wild card, there's no way to get there. Like we just talked about how the North is kind of wide open. Like literally the Browns are technically still in contention for it too. So that tells me that like Steelers have a couple of ways to get there. Bills only have the wild card. That's their only path. So that their own
wild card coming from the North.
I don't think so either, but
I mean, mathematically, yes, there is two paths.
Sure. All right. So we really got fired up on the AFC North for some reason. That was funny. All right. So we're gonna crash out over on the AFC South division now, as we got the Texans playing the Colts. Now the Colts have had a surprisingly successful season. Texans have gotten off to a slow start, but now they're heating up at the right time. So this is a big opportunity for Houston to close the gap on the Colts that have had a lead on that South all year. So Caleb, who do you think needs this game more, the Texans or the Colts?
I think the Colts actually need it more, to be honest with you, because I think if they lose this one, I think they just sputter and kind of fall out. And the Texans, I say that, but the Texans obviously need this game too. But I don't know. I feel like the Colts have a bigger opportunity to lose than the Texans do, I guess. I don't know. They both have a big opportunity at the same time, so I don't know. This is a tough one.
Who would you pick?
I'd probably pick the Texans to win this one, though.
Okay.
I like their defense. I think they can stop Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and then CJ Stroud's back too. So we'll see if it was just the Davis Mills effect or what it was. But I think that'll have some effect on the game.
Corey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, now's not a good time for a report to come out that Danny Dimes has a fractured leg.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you guys see the clip of him trying to practice? How he's literally hobbling. He can't even.
This isn't the defense that you want to show any wounds to. Will Anderson and those guys, they're flying around right now and they're hitting people hard.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Algier, who is always a headhunter. So now it gets back to that point of Justin Herbert, right? Like Justin Herbert's always one, big shot away from, the injury. Well, now you have a quarterback who is injured. And now what are you going to do? Have your season rest in Anthony Richardson's hands?
He's out still too.
So it's like,
he is.
That Oracle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, who's the backup then?
No, is it Quinn Ewers?
Me.
Sam Ellinger.
Ellinger, that's it. The Texas guy.
It's me.
I don't think it is Ellinger.
Oh yeah, I think he might be with the Broncos.
He is.
He is. He's on the Broncos practice squad.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
It's Leonard.
Let's do some league recon here.
Riley.
It's Riley Leonard. Yeah, he's their.
So you're saying, no.
Jimmy Clausen.
Jimmy Clausen. So this is a bigger opportunity for Houston, and I do see the Texans absolutely being able to steal this one, and then that kind of sets up what my brother was saying last week or the week before about the Colts not winning this division. It'll probably end up coming down to the Texans and Jaguars.
Austin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, a few weeks ago I said Colts weren't winning the division, and I am staying true to that. So that for that reason, I think the Colts need this more, because even a few weeks ago, I could sense the division just slipping away.
Right.
Again, I like Danny Dimes, but things have to be rolling smooth for me to think that things are going to be okay. And the last few weeks have been anything other than smooth for him. And now we're talking about the injury, right? So I think it's a bigger game for the Colts, but I still think Texans win. I think here in a couple weeks, we're going to be talking about Texans being the division leader. Depending how bad that is for Daniel Jones, here in a few weeks, we might be talking about them playing for the 7th seed. We can say how we feel about Daniel Jones all we want, but if he's less than 100% or Riley Leonard's the guy, this could be a really, really bumpy final 5 or 6 weeks for them. So Colts need it more. it's a bigger opportunity for the Texans because the division's there for the taking.
Yeah.
And I do think that they are the better team. So they need to go in there and take care of business.
Yeah, Matt, what are your thoughts?
Man, I think I'm going to go with the Texans on this one, just because like now you have your shot to not only take hold of the division, but get your spot in the playoffs as well. Because, I'm thinking of it as like if the season ended today and the Texans win, you just knocked out your division rival and took their spot. So that's bragging rights for a year at least. But I'm going with the Texans, one, because you fought your way. You had some pretty hard fought games without CJ Stroud, right? And Davis Mills did a phenomenal job leading that team. Like no one thought he was going to beat the Bills, and he did. But now you have CJ Stroud back. Corey already brought it up. That defense is fine. They're the number one defense for a reason. And I really don't want to play them again at all. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the Texans, they have a lot right on them because they're not in the playoffs yet, but they can be with the win today. They're, not division leaders yet, but they can be with the win today. And I think all the cards are just kind of falling in their favor right now with Danny Dimes with that leg injury, Anthony Richardson not playing. You got an inexperienced third-string QB getting ready to come in, more than likely. And what are they going to do? Rest their hopes and dreams on Jonathan Taylor? Well, good luck. This is the number one defense in basically every single category you can think of, with the exception of sacks. So, yeah, I'm going with the Texans on this one.
Yeah, I think the Colts need this game more, but I think the Texans are going to win. Texans are going to absolutely feast on Danny Dimes. I think what makes it terrible is Daniel Jones' ability to move the pocket and be mobile was something that would help this offense create additional opportunities or open up a little bit. But now that he essentially is literally playing on a broken leg right now, like his escapability is going to be nothing. And so with how tough that Texans pass rush is, Will Anderson coming around the edge is probably going to take, the leg out of Daniel Jones. And honestly, too, the Colts might want to seriously think about, hey, maybe for his own safety, we don't let him play, because seeing clips of him practicing and he's hobbling around, it is almost like sad and depressing to see like they're really going to let this guy go out on the field. Just because he wants to play doesn't mean you should let him play. You need to do right by the player and get him healthy as needed. And if that means the season is over, that sucks. But I mean, it's better than letting him play on a broken leg. And who knows what additional injury or how much worse it can get if you let him stay behind that offensive line and get eaten up by the Texans. But I think the Texans, as they've beaten good teams, like they just beat the Bills, and now if they can beat the division rival, they still have one more matchup against Jacksonville, which probably will decide the division. They really need this additional momentum heading into, the postseason, especially if, granted, they get the wild card or wherever their seeding is. So that way, whoever they play, it hopefully is a home matchup for them. And with that defense is going to make things very difficult. My only concern with the Texans, though, is their offense with CJ Stroud. It was moving really well with Davis Mills. Now with CJ Stroud, can that ball move around like it's supposed to? Or is he going to hold on to it inexplicably for too long, where he has all these weapons and yet the ball's not coming out of his hands? Whereas Davis Mills was actually on schedule. Can CJ Stroud, get that offense rolling? So I think that's ultimately like what I'm looking for in this matchup too. So
I think because they have one more matchup with the Colts, right? So like, it's not the end of the world if the Colts do lose this game. It obviously doesn't help, but so to your point, Cody, if whether or not to play the guy because of an injury, they could afford to give this one up, but it makes it that much more thinner for the next go around when they do have to play him in a couple more weeks. But yeah.
Hey, he could be like Ronnie Lott. Just cut it off.
Just get a false leg out there. Yeah. That's fine. Little prosthetic leg. All right, let's move on to Austin's favorite player in the NFL right now. Myles Garrett is going up against the San Francisco 49ers. And I say Myles Garrett because literally the Browns don't really have anybody. So Myles Garrett, this is his time to shine. So Austin, I do want to ask you this question. How many sacks do you think Garrett is going to get in today's game?
3.5.
You think 3.5?
before you say they have nobody, they actually have. Now I haven't looked updated, but it was going into this week, some pre-Thursday, Friday games.
Mm-hmm.
They've actually had the 12th ranked defense for the one stat that matters, points allowed.
Okay.
They've lost, I think it was 4 one-score games where the defense actually kept teams under like 16 points.
Mm-hmm.
So like they are a legitimate defensive team, and it does start around him. Think of how bad that offense is. The fact that they've been in 4 one-score games because of that defense, all under like 16 or 17 points. It's insane, but I think Myles Garrett gets 3.5 sacks. Niners offensive line can be had. That's why their quarterbacks are always beat up.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Shanahan actually uses Kittle as like an extra tackle this whole time. Wherever he sees Garrett, Kittle's going to be the extra. I'm not even chipping him. I think they're actually just going to double him with Kittle.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see the game plan, but it's still Myles Garrett. He's still a beast. So I still think he gets 3.5 sacks.
And as we are recording this right now, he currently has 18. So if he gets 3.5 sacks, that means he's at 21.5 with 5 more weeks left to go in the season. So this sack record might just be obliterated. Like maybe the question is he going to get to, how close can he get to 30?
Well, he still plays the Titans too. So that's an easy like 6 sack game if he plays all 4 quarters.
And also I think they got one more Bengals matchup, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
That's Corey. How many sacks do you think Garrett's going to get?
Yeah, I'll say 3.
Okay.
Because like he said, the 49ers offensive line, they're beat up, or they're not really. They're easy to get sacks on. Shanahan's going to have to be smart with these. He's going to have to be very, very smart and strategically do this. This could be a good CMC, Brian Robinson, both getting a lot of touches to try to keep Brock Purdy from alive, essentially. But it also wouldn't surprise me if the dude comes out and has 4.5, 5 sacks again. That's just where we're at with Myles Garrett right now.
Yeah. And I know a lot of things in the offseason about the draft pick of Mason Graham and he looking bad. Well, when the game started mattering, Mason Graham is a huge reason why a lot of this is happening. He's become a problem in the middle. You leave him by himself, he's actually doing work. So now you have to kind of think, do we need a little extra body here? Leaves it a little more open for Myles. We were talking about with Max Crosby. If they could just get somebody else to help take a little focus. Well, when games started mattering, that was Mason Graham. And I think that's a huge reason we're seeing Myles Garrett just go off.
Mm-hmm. Caleb, how many sacks do you think Garrett's going to get?
I'm going to go with 2 this week. I still think he obliterates the record, but he's got, like you said, I think he's going to get chipped a lot with Kittle. And then I know Trent Williams is getting old and he's not having kind of the year that he's probably hoped to. But I think he gets 2 this week.
Matt?
I'm also going with 2. I just think the Niners offensive line is beat up, but they've only given up 19 sacks this far into the season. So, I mean, that's really not horrible in hindsight. So
right.
I think they do enough to kind of keep him from totally having his way, but he's going to get in the backfield. He's going to be disruptive. And I think he's going to have at least 2 sacks in this game.
We're talking 2 sacks down week.
Right. Yeah. It's a down week.
Only 2.
Yeah. Only 2.
What a peasant.
Yeah, I think Garrett's going to get 2. I mean, he's got a tough matchup with the 49ers. Is it Trent? Why am I blanking on his name? He's the tackle.
My brother, Trent Williams.
Trent Williams. That's right.
Yeah.
Trent Williams. He's got a tough matchup with him. However, though, with how Garrett's been playing, who knows? But I'm going to say at least 2. And I think that's where he'll end. And that'll get him 20 for the remainder of the season with plenty of opportunity to get 2.5 more sacks to either tie or maybe 3 to break the record. So we may see history this week or next week, fellas. So
I will say that Shanahan is going to have a better game plan for Garrett than the Raiders did. They literally left their offensive lineman one-on-one with Garrett. I think I saw 72% of the Raiders left their offensive linemen one-on-one with Garrett, almost 3-4 one-on-one, Cody. Shanahan's not going to let that happen.
I'm aware. You don't need to remind me. Also, too, it doesn't help that literally Myles Garrett is bigger than the offensive lineman. So doesn't help. Like literally they're the same size as us and they're trying to guard Myles Garrett. It's just not going to work. So,
yeah.
All right, moving on to the last league recon question before we get into our sponsored segment. We're going to go into who is this year's coach of the year. So, Caleb, I want you to kick us off. Who do you think is this year's coach of the year?
You know, I keep bouncing around. I think it has to be one of three guys. But I've got to go with Ben Johnson. I think what he inherited was really bad. Now, granted, they did get the players around that he needed. I mean, they got a no-line, that kind of thing. But I ultimately think he should get Coach of the Year. My others would be Mike Vrabel or Sean McVay. I mean, those are my three that I think.
Okay, but you would give it to Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I would give it to Ben Johnson.
Got it. Matt?
It's going to come down to Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel because, again, both of them took over inherently bad teams and have sophomore QBs as their starters, and both of them are doing really well. But, I mean, if I had to choose, I think I'm going to go Ben Johnson just because, like, as soon as he got in there, the first thing he did was, like, this O-line is a problem. Let's fix that first. And he just went to work from day one and didn't stop. And not saying Vrabel didn't, but he had less issues to solve than what Ben Johnson had to fix. And Johnson has done an amazing job with the Bears. So I'm going to give it to Ben.
Okay. Austin?
Yeah, I think Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel are kind of the easy choices at this moment. So I'm going to kind of double down on something I said in one of our previous shows about when I called the Eagles frauds and they wouldn't win the division. If that pans out, I think Schottenheimer gets Coach of the Year.
I think it's a really good one. I was going to mention him as an honorable mention. That's a good one. Corey?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't sleep on Sean Payton either. I mean, we still are in the last year of the Russ dead cap, what we've been able to do. 10 wins last year, about to win the division this year, dethroned the Chiefs. So I'm not saying he is the coach of the year. I'm just saying don't sleep on Sean Payton. It is Ben Johnson, especially if they do make a nice little run in the postseason. So let's say they get, let's say they do mess around and get that 1 seed somehow, some way, or even just get a win in the playoffs, and then maybe they get to an NFC championship game. Then we're Bear fans, man, Chicago's going to be. It's going to be wild, but yeah.
How many people had Patriots and Bears as 1 seeds at all?
Not.
How many had them in the playoffs?
Right? Like,
definitely not me.
Completely insane for sure. I think it's Ben Johnson, like for sure. Like that's the easy one.
Yeah, I think Ben Johnson has probably the strongest case. I think Sean Payton has I actually think Sean Payton has a little bit better of a case than Mike Vrabel, only because the division that Sean Payton is in was started off a little bit more competitive, and then they've just put it on the league and having key victories against really good opponents and comeback wins and victories. But I would say Ben Johnson right now has like a stranglehold on it, unless there's some epic collapse, which the Bears look almost like they're going to win the North, which is wild because I think they were dead last in the division. So they did a complete 180 and they're now about to win the North. And that's a big shock, and credit to Ben Johnson and what he's done. And Caleb Williams has looked like a respectable quarterback. He looks like he's going to be better than JJ McCarthy. So that's that's something to say.
It's a big game this week for the Bears. It'll be good to see where they're at. They got the Packers this week.
Well, it'll be next week.
Next week,
yeah.
It's been a long holiday weekend. I don't even know days anymore. That'll be a big one. That'll be, if they win that, they have I don't want to say stranglehold, but I think that locks up the division and the Coach of the Year award if they take care of the Packers next week.
Yeah, it's a good point. All right, let's move on to our JBW Solutions sponsored segment, Locks and Upsets. Wait, this is the sponsored segment, right? I'm seeing this right in the notes. Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we gave up. We're not doing fantasy ones right now.
We suck at fantasy. Yeah.
I did beat the Shoviks though last week. I just want to throw that out there. So in the Podcasters League, I did have a nice little victory. So, all right, guys. So locks and upsets of this week. Again, this segment is sponsored by JBW Solutions. So, Austin, who is your lock or who is your upset for Week 13?
Man, this is tough. I'm going to go with an upset. I'm going to pick the Browns to upset the Niners.
Wow. Okay.
Shador time.
Exactly. I think they got a quarterback who can get you that 17 to 24 points.
Legendary.
Which is going to keep you in some games with that defense. So I'm picking the Browns for an upset because they're 5.5-point dogs right now.
All right. Corey?
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals as an upset over the Bucks.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, Caleb?
I was going to go with – those were my top two. But I'll go with Texans over Colts. I know I said that already, but
I thought you were going to say the Raiders over the Chargers.
Yeah.
Matt,
well, do that. Chargers is your lock of the week since they play a freshman team.
That is true.
Well, everyone already took what I was going to say. I was going to say, you know what? My upset is the Browns over the Niners because you got Myles Garrett. And then my lock would have been Texans over the Colts because, so.
There's still the Falcons and Jets on the table.
Yeah.
I'll let Meg decide that game for me.
Yeah.
But no, you know what? I'll just say the Broncos are a lock over the Commanders.
Fellas. We're in trouble.
I knocked on wood.
All right, I'm going to say my upset of the week is going to be the Raiders over the Chargers.
Let's go.
So that's what I got. All right. That segment was sponsored by JBW Solutions. If you guys are looking to get safety compliant, please visit jbwsolutionsllc.com. Visit Jeff and the crew today to get OSHA compliant and safety compliant and all things for your business and your job site. So the next one, final segment, you guys, safe or not safe. I'm going to throw some teams out at you guys, although I've got to do a little adjusting because some notes here, but I'm going to throw some teams out here and you're going to tell me if they're safe or not safe this week. Okay. Caleb, are the Bills safe or are they not safe this week?
I think they're safe. I think they beat the Steelers. Yep.
Matt?
I'm going to go not safe. Them on the road. I don't know.
All right. Austin?
I'm going to go safe.
Safe? Okay. And Corey, safe or not safe, Bills?
Not safe.
I'm going to go not safe as well. All right, let's go over to Seattle, where we got the Vikings visiting the Seattle Seahawks. Matt, are the Seahawks safe or not?
I think so. I think they're safe.
Okay. Austin?
No.
Corey?
It's not on the notes, but I'll say not safe.
Oh,
well,
not safe.
The Bears and Eagles played on Friday, so that's why.
I put Bears on there because I was going to say that was a Super Bowl watch for the Super Bowl. But all right, I get it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what was the game again?
Seattle and the Vikings. Seattle, are they safe or not?
Yeah, no, Seattle's safe. Vikings are so bad.
Dude, it's Max Brosmer season.
No, stop it.
Caleb, Seahawks safe or not safe?
I think they're safe. Yeah,
safe. Okay, I'm gonna say Seahawks are safe as well.
Let's do a little hyphen on this one. Does McDonald have a chance for Coach of the Year? You think?
No.
I was gonna give him honorable mention. I think he's done pretty well. If not, who's the OC? Kubiak, right? He's done really good with this offense in Sam Darnold. Although I think he's second in the league in interceptions, so I don't know if that says anything or not. But
who's first?
You know who. If you got car troubles, just blame Gino. You forgot to pick up your kid from daycare. Just blame Gino.
I just feel like Seattle has been one of the better teams in the NFC. It's just overshadowed because of what the Rams are doing in that division.
Got it.
There'll be a 1-0 in the postseason.
Well, yeah, it's still Sam Darnold.
Exactly.
All right. So since I guess I fumbled a little bit on this segment, we're gonna course correct here. So Corey, I'm gonna kick it off to you. Are the Eagles a safe or not safe bet for the Super Bowl?
Bears. Go Bears, not Eagles.
The Eagles aren't going in. No, the Eagles aren't going to Super Bowl.
No,
they're not safe. Not safe.
Austin?
Yeah, no, they're not safe. I said, was it last episode where I didn't think they'd win the division?
Yeah. I think that was on our fraud segment on Tuesday.
It was.
They're broken, man. They are broken.
And he still stood by his offense coordinator after the game the other night.
It's wild.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm going not safe.
Not safe for the
not
Super Bowl?
Safe. Yeah, not safe. They're defeathered.
They were replaced for the turkey.
Yep.
All right,
Right.
Caleb.
Yeah, I'm going not safe. I think my Chargers knock them to their knees this coming week.
All right.
Okay.
I think
Hope you have enough voltage.
That's no shit. Yeah.
No kidding. I'm with you.
I think the Eagles are not a safe Super Bowl pick. I think there's going to be a new Super Bowl champion this year. So,
Facts.
all right. I think it's time to do AFC West predictions, and then we'll close the show. Corey, who do you have between the Chargers and the Raiders?
I really thought it was going to be funny going with the Raiders, but I'm not doing that. It'll be the Chargers.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah, I can't say Raiders with the straight face. I'm going to Chargers.
That's kind of how I was like, no.
All right. Caleb?
Chargers.
Okay. Austin?
You know, it's one of those. It's the NFL, and like at some point, everyone has to win.
Except
But it's
the
not this point.
We're not there with that.
You know what? I'm gonna go Raiders.
All right. Well, since I
guess
already
we
picked
are,
them as the
okay.
upset of the week, I'm going to go with my Raiders as well. So we'll see. I might wear the Victory Monday shirt or nothing at all. So we'll see.
Oh, well, please wear something.
Birthday suit?
Family show, please.
We'll see how my Raiders do. And hopefully the crash out won't be nearly as bad. So I definitely need a victory for mental health reasons. So, all right, final game of the AFC West matchup. Again, it's the Commanders and the Broncos Sunday Night Football. Caleb, who do you have, Commanders or Broncos?
I'm gonna go Broncos.
Broncos. Austin.
Yeah, Broncos. They've been my Super Bowl pick before the season. Why would I hop off now?
Yeah, I'm going to go Broncos. If Jaden Daniels had played today, I think it'd be different, but it's Broncos. So, Corey?
It'll be Broncos.
Okay,
By a
Matt.
lot.
I'm going Broncos.
Okay, should I then ask the Broncos guys, do you think the 6.5 spread should go over or under?
I would say over.
Okay, more
Over.
than 6.5?
Yeah,
Over
yeah,
6.5.
over.
Okay. I think I can say over as well. So,
You
all right. What's up?
Yeah. We all took Denver.
Yeah, we all did pick Denver. All right, let's close it out with one bold statement for week 13. Corey.
Gino's going to throw 4 interceptions today.
Let's go. Caleb, what's your bold statement for week 13?
I was gonna go Gino gets sacked 7 times.
Matt?
I was going with.
None of these are bold.
Yeah.
My bad. 12 times.
12, there you go.
12 times.
Gino's going to throw 4 interceptions, get sacked 5 times, and AOC will lead the team to a 27-point deficit loss.
Okay. Austin, what's your bold statement?
I wasn't going to go Raiders, but I think I need to. No, I'm going to stick with mine because I'm hyped about it.
Okay.
I'm thinking his first career start, Devin Neal's going to have 150 total yards and 3 touchdowns and an upset win over the Dolphins.
Wow, that is interesting.
I thought we were actually being bold and we're just all picking things that are most likely going to happen.
You don't think you think 12 sacks is most likely going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. My bold prediction is Geno Smith does not throw an interception today.
Oh,
Damn,
that's hella bold.
That's bold. That's a bold move, Cotton.
Let's see how it pays off.
Oof.
All right, guys.
He's not going to throw an interception, but he's still going to get benched.
I was saying he didn't throw an interception because he got benched.
Yeah. If AOC comes in the game today to beat the Chargers, I'll still be happy. That'll be fine. Just be a very interesting predicament where we started the season at.
Dude, if they beat the Chargers,
right.
watch out.
That'd be
Yeah, Caleb, you're going to get it.
Oh, I know. I already know. What's
know.
crazy
Poor
is
Caleb,
I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. It would be a Charger thing to do.
That's true.
Yeah, poor Caleb.
I know. Mute the group chat. Just delete.
Yeah,
all
Caleb's
of it.
down bad this week. His Vols did not do great in basketball nor football yesterday, so we're down bad today, boys.
Tough scene.
All right, that is it for our Sunday pregame show for week 13, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've got some partners to thank and acknowledge. So first off, Beard Club, Austin's luscious beard is brought to you by Beard Club. Also, Shank It Golf, if you guys have any golfing needs. They had a crazy Black Friday sale. I think they have somewhat of a smaller sale going on until Monday. So go check out the link in the bio for more details on that. Also, Homage. I see Corey there is rocking a Homage shirt. So go visit the friends at homage.com for all of your sports apparel and your team-specific merch. And then Badger Barrel. Shout out to them for sending the guys smokers. And Matt was able to have Thanksgiving courtesy of Badger Barrel because of his smoked turkey. And when we get together next year, fellas, we'll definitely have some Badger Barrels and get some meat smoked and pregame and all that stuff. It's a must. And, of course, there's the magical catchphrase that Matt always delivers. Hit him with it.
In a world of butterflies, be a Badger.
Yes, sir. So shout out to Badger Barrel. Great friends, and can't wait to see what else they have coming out during this holiday season. And now to the ones that actually help us and support us in what we do. I want to shout out to Troy for field ops. Again, any field markings or field creations that is needed, please reach out to Troy and his crew in the greater Kansas area. Also, Emporia State Federal Credit Union, Angie and the team over there have been wonderful. Hopefully the guys got to see them when they stopped by Emporia. No, okay, maybe Christmas we'll say hi to them.
She's a good boss and gave her employees the day after Thanksgiving off as well.
Who does that?
That did not happen to me. I was back at the hotel the next day, so not great. Anyway, shout out to Angie and them for what they do for the War Room, as they are the War Room's banking of choice. And then, of course, the main sponsor, as we were recording from the JBW Solutions, Jeff. Shout out to JBW Solutions LLC. Again, go visit them for any safety needs to get OSHA compliant or any long haul training compliance as well. My dogs are going crazy right now. It is too early for this. Anyways, guys, does anyone have anything else before we sign off?
No.
Wow,
Nope,
that is
I think we're good.
Bolt up.
Energy is so high with you guys right now. All right, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you guys next time.